Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Celebrating Life, honoring past International Inner Wheel President Esther Vibal. Esther Asuncion Vibal is a writer, publisher, businesswoman, a socio-civic leader, and a philanthropist. She is the founder and chairperson of Vibal Group of Companies and known internationally as the first Asian and Filipina president of International Inner Wheel. To start our celebration, let us have an opening remark coming from our first National Vice President of IWCPI, Sophie Lee.
Good afternoon. We are gathered here today to celebrate a life well lived of our beloved past National President, Esther Vibal. She was a remarkable woman who wore many hats. She was a writer, journalist, publisher, a businesswoman, a social-civic leader, and a philanthropist. She was a recipient of numerous awards and recognitions from several honorable organizations. She took pride in her engagement in women's causes and was involved in many associations nationwide, notable of which as a national president of the Inner Wheel Clubs of the Philippines Incorporated. She was also the first Asian and the only Filipina to be elected International Inner Wheel President. Tonight, we will learn more about this multifaceted lady as we listen from her many colleagues in her district, District 378, and her fellow leaders, the past national presidents and the present National Board of Trustees. We hope that this tribute that we lovingly prepared for her will bring back fond memories of her colorful life, most especially her valuable stint in Inner Wheel. She was a leader who inspired and touched so many lives. Though she may be gone, her legacy will live on forever.
Thank you very much, Vice President Sophie. And now, let us focus our attention on screen to watch the audio-visual presentation on the life of our dear Tita Esther, as prepared for us by our national editor, Christine Ngo. much, National Editor Christine Ngo, for a heartwarming audiovisual presentation. We now continue with our program, where some of our past national presidents share with us their fond memories with our dear Tita Esther. We'll start with the past national president of the IWCPI for the year 1984 to 1985, past national president Noni Basilio.
I will never forget November 28, 2020. At 8:30 in the evening on that day, I got a call. Tita Noni, wala na po si Ma'am. The caller was Miriam, the devoted caregiver of Esther Vibal, who succumbed to multiple organ failure at the age of 95. Although aware that her end was near, as I had been monitoring from Miriam her condition while she was in the ICU of St. Luke's Hospital, still the impact of the news made me feel faint that I had to lie down lest I fall. For the call brought down the curtain on a chapter in my life, a chapter on friendship that had not only grown but blossomed into a beautiful sisterly relationship for more than 4 decades. Esther and I met and became friends in the Inner Wheel Club of Quezon City, where I learned to appreciate and put into practice the inner wheel ideals of friendship, service, and international understanding in that order. As a charter member and past president of the club, Esther was already a respected elder when I joined it in 1975. The admirable traits of Esther that attracted me to her were her humility, generosity, and down-to-earth attitude that made people around her feel at ease. For many years, she printed the IWCQC newsletter free of charge. We became so close to and at ease with each other that she did not mind bringing home leftover dishes after a party here at home. We also took trips together, either for pleasure or to attend inner wheel conferences and conventions. 2 incidents that I love to talk about took place during the IIW convention in Paris and in Stockholm, Sweden. In Paris, my husband and I were booked in a hotel near the IIW convention venue. The day before the opening, I got a call from Esther from the lobby of the hotel. Noni, may I stay with you? I have no hotel booking. Yes, of course, I said, but the bed is just for 2. So that night, we slept together in one bed, with me in the middle, my husband on one side, and Esther on the other side. I find the incident so funny that when I became president of the Inner Wheel Clubs of the Philippines, I would sometimes start my speech by recalling the funny incident to get the attention of the audience. Do you know that IIW President Esther and my husband had slept together in Paris? The room would suddenly turn silent and I would see incredulous eyes staring at me. Then I would add the bottom line. But of course, I was between them. Laughter would follow. And of course, all ears would be on my speech. The second incident took place in Stockholm, Sweden, while we were taking breakfast in the hotel. I noticed Esther making sandwiches. Sorry. From the rolls on the bread tray and putting them one by one into her tote bag. I said, "Hoy, Esther, baka makita ka ng waiter, nakakahiya." She just smiled, but continued her sandwich making. Later, in a long train ride to Russia, we got hungry, but the train was full, and the train restaurant was far from our car. Then we saw Esther across us munching a sandwich, and when I asked her for some, she said, "Ayan, pinagtatawa na ninyo ako. Ngayon, nang hihingi kayo sa akin. Kung hindi ako nagbalot, wala kayong kakainin." Now, my best friend, mentor, and confidant is gone. To say that my heart is broken is an understatement, because I do not know if I ever will find somebody to fill the void that her death has left in my heart. But as we all know, death is a God-given reality that we must all accept. So as God's good children, we should abide by His will. Esther, my friend, my sister, you are gone, but you will always be in my heart and in those whose lives you had touched, especially in the inner wheel that you loved so much. So Esther, until we meet again in the afterlife, rest in peace and bask in the eternal light of the Lord. Farewell, my friend.
To continue our honoring, may I call on past National President Cecil Romera, who served IWCPI in 1987 to 1988.
An eulogy for Esther Vibal by Cecil Romera, past IIW board member, past President Council of PNPs, past President IWCPI. It is a great privilege to speak and eulogize on Esther Vibal, who have caused great sadness among the inner wheel circle on her demise. Esther is a symbol of achievement, a person of vision, and an advocate of collective action, which she had emphatically expressed in her resume that I had included in the book that I published about inner wheel clubs of the Philippines, 38 years of service and friendship. Esther has the distinguished honor of being the first Asian to be elected as president of International Inner Wheel in 1983 to 1984. She had served in different capacities for 5 solid years. These positions were World President 1983 to 1984, Vice President 1982 to 1983, Editor International Inner Wheel Music, First Asian awarded the honor 1978 to 1981, Board Member 1978 to 1980, IIW Liaison Officer to UN Agencies on Women Issues 1985-1986. I realized that it's very difficult to talk about someone who had so much to her credit that I encountered moments of groping for words to better picture her out. So I thought that I can do that by simply enumerating all of those achievements, commitments, involvements, and leave to you, my friends at the Inner Wheel, to assess or figure out how she did that. For example, she had spent a total of 47 years of her achieving years, attending 19 international IIW conventions, mostly in Europe, attending functions of 13 other organizations in the Philippines, and attending international regional conferences in different countries, 15 countries in all. Of course, we all know that she was very rich, owning a big printing press, Vibal printing press, real property business, and being a very private person who values privacy seriously. We don't know what other businesses she's engaged in. Esther is a great friend. We both came from UP with the same course, English and journalism. Although I pursued further to MPA due to necessity because I work at NSDB, now DOST, as Director for Management. I had the privilege of associating with Esther at the IWCPI. I got my inspiration from her before I went to represent the Philippines to the board of IIW in 1985. She was then the immediate past president. Rangel Oglan was the president then when I was there. I would like to extend my sincerest condolences to the family of Esther, with fervent prayers that God in His infinite wisdom and love will take her to the great beyond in the garden of paradise. Till we meet again, Esther, in that realm.
Let us now hear from the past national president of the IWCPI, who served in 1989 to 1990, past national president Stella Bernabe.
Dear members of the Vibal family, friends and colleagues of our dear departed, ladies and gentlemen, I am extremely pleased and honored to have been chosen to be one of those to say a final goodbye to our past international inner wheel president, Esther Vibal, during this celebration of life event. A fitting tribute to a dear friend and co-worker in inner wheel, whose passing leaves a deep void in the hearts of those whose lives she has lovingly touched. Now that she has left us, I cannot help but feel very sad and yes, regret over the fact that circumstances denied me the privilege and good fortune of closely working with her and seeing her more often than the few times we were actually together. But the quality of those moments with her, the good vibes, the mentoring, and the flashes of inspiration, that her presence never failed to give more than made up for those rare visits. Her busy schedule did not allow her to visit Cebu as she would have liked to, but when she did find the time, she always managed to get in touch with me for us to spend happy and precious moments together. Be it over lunch or dinner, depending on what her busy schedule permits. We would talk about a variety of subjects, not pre-planned but at random. More often about matters which were of common interest to us, including but not limited to our relationships with friends and associates in the professionals and social fields, and oftentimes ending the conversation with matters centered on inner wheel related plans and activities. How can I best describe her as an individual? I hesitate doing it for fear that I will not be able to do justice to a woman of her stature. But let me do it just the same with a description based mostly on my association with her as a colleague in the inner wheel circle. As a leader, to me, the best way to describe her was she was born to lead. A look at her impressive resume and credentials leaves with no other conclusion except that as a person, she was strong, infectious, positive, and cheerful, with a charm that made it easy for people around her to relate with. As a friend, she was an eager, patient listener, supportive, cooperative, and ready to lend a helping hand when the need arises. She was all of that and more. I can say with utmost certainty that we deeply mourn her passing. But knowing her as we all do, she will prefer more than our grief, a recognition of the legacy that she has left for us to emulate. She will be happiest if we will carry on the torch, so to speak, to make our short lives here cause a meaningful and positive impact on the lives of others. Goodbye, Mrs. Esther Vibal. We will surely miss you, but we are consoled with the assurance that you are now in the warm and loving embrace of our God Almighty.
Let us now listen to past national president who served in 1991 to 1992, past national president Linda Reyes.
For so long, I have wondered about my dear friend Esther. I've been missing her, not knowing what might have happened to her. She just disappeared from our council's meetings and fellowship, no inkling why. Soon later, I found out from a close friend, Noni, that she was hospitalized. But she doesn't want us to visit her, just like her. So mysteriosa, she would never want us to see her, not at her very best. As we gathered here today to remember and commemorate her life, let's bid her farewell as we mourn the loss of a lively, dignified lady, a woman who brought joy and fulfillment to many. She was a vibrant soul, one who would literally lit up a room whenever she entered. It was her glow, her smile, and her tender touch. Her joy for life transmitted through her smile and the sparkler in her mischievous eyes. She was beautiful inside and out. Esther had a sense of humor which endeared her to everyone. She formed so many long-lasting friendships through the years. She could tease and needle, but never out of malice. As a widow, she tried, in her own way, always knowing and becoming busy, never feeling sorry for herself. Esther feels that service is noble and necessary, that one can serve with integrity and hold true to the important values like faith and family. She strongly believed that it was important to give back to the community and to the country that serving others enriched the giver's soul. One thing that I would always remember for her is her humility. She, in fact, loved to tell stories about how she would go to the Visoria to buy clothes, accessories, and stuff. Then she would show us how she created beauty out of the cheap things she bought, and was so proud of what she has done, make them look expensive and classic. Such simple joys to someone who can afford to buy anything from high-end boutiques. Esther had an inherent love of music. Even at her late age, she decided to take up voice lessons. She surrounded herself with others who love music and would often invite singers and musicians to her home, ever so often. Esther could relate with people from all walks of life. She was an empathic woman who valued character over pedigree. She was no cynic. She looked for the good of from each other, and usually found it. She was elected to the highest position of Innerwell as international president. All over the world, she was a symbol of selfless humanity, a standard bearer for the rights of the truly downtrodden, a very Filipiniana woman who transcended nationality. Today is our chance to say thank you for the way she brightened our lives and be grateful that she came and brought pride to the Philippine Innerwheel organization. Now that she is gone, we truly appreciate we are now without, and we want her to know that life in Innerwheel without her is difficult. The strength of the message she gave us through the years of giving has afforded us the strength to move forward. She stands tall enough as a human being of unique qualities. She lived a long life and a happy life, a soul that brought joy and fulfillment to many, whose legacy will live on forever. To us, she is the brightest of 1,000 points of lights. Farewell, my dear friend Esther. I shall miss you.
To continue, we now hear from the IWCPI Past National President who served in 1992 to 1993, Past National President Mary Jane Ortega.
I met Esther A. Vibal when I was still in college, and she was already an active member of the Innerwheel Club of Quezon City, where my sister-in-law, Bienvenida Aban, was also a member. And I would see them go out to their projects. She also became like an older sister to me. And as a teenager, I looked up to her as a journalist and a successful businesswoman, but most importantly, I saw her as a very empowered woman and an active civic leader. When I finally joined the Innerwheel Club of San Fernando, La Union, that was way back in 1967, 53 years ago, she was already active in the national level in the Innerwheel Clubs of the Philippines Incorporated. And therefore, she followed my career or my involvement in Innerwheel. She supported me when finally I became a district editor, president first of my club, a district editor, a district chairman, international Innerwheel representative, and that's when she kept on egging me to go farther. She said, aim to be an editor, aim to be the president of International Innerwheel. But I said, Esther, only you can be an IIW president. I don't think I can. And she would always scold me. And she said, no, aim higher. But finally, when I found my way as mayor of the city of San Fernando, then she said, oh, so this is what was meant for you. And she encouraged me to be the best mayor that I could ever be. But then, that did not stop everything. I became president also of the Innerwheel Clubs of the Philippines, and she would always call me up and say, what is keeping you busy? She got me into so many other organizations. She got me into the National Sandigan Foundation, got me into the Girl Scouts of the Philippines, into the National Council of Women's Clubs, into the ACWO or Asian Confederation of Women's Organization. We were together for the International Council of Women. So we were a happy team together. And one time, when we were at the National Convention of IWCPI in 2014, we were seated beside each other. And I asked her, I said, oh, you know, by the way, Tita Esther, I have a problem. I am now writing the biography of Victor, and I would like to have it printed and given away as a souvenir on his 80th birthday. And I was talking to her in February, and Victor's birthday was June. And she looked at me and she said, Mom, and that's in Ilocano, she told me, you know, we're very busy now because of printing and publishing textbooks. However, go and see this lady. She's an Ilocana, and she will help you. And true enough, I was assigned a coordinator. They helped me out in layouting, and therefore I was very busy for 2 months, from February, March, April, May, for the publication of the book. And I have this one to show. Every time I would see this biography of my husband, The Seasons of Life, biyag ni Victor Ortega. Biyag is an Ilocano term for life. I will always remember you, Esther. You were able to make it possible. This is what I had in the foreword. I had the people who helped me make this a reality. You, therefore, are my fairy godmother. You made my wish come true, and it is immortalized in this book that is a labor of love for my husband. Thank you, Tita Esther. You have been a mentor, an older sister, but you have also been a fairy godmother. You have seen me and followed me from my teenage years to my mature years. And you truly lived the motto of Inner Wheel, selflessness in friendship. And you have served humanity. Thank you very much. We will never forget you. We will keep your memory in our hearts. You have touched so many of us, and therefore you will not be forgotten. Rest in peace, and to your family, to your children, thank you for having had a mother who had such a big heart to include all of us in all the organizations that she has been with. She has touched our hearts. And thank you, therefore, from our grateful heart. Rest in peace, Tita Esther. God now is waiting for you. His loving arms are outstretched to embrace you, because you have been a good mother to all the people that you have met. Vaya con Dios.
We continue with our honoring. I call on our past national president who served in 1994 to 1995, past national president Evelia Religioso.
My dear co-workers in Inner Wheel, the family of our beloved past International Inner Wheel President Esther Asuncion Vibal, good day. I had the great opportunity to be in the company of past National President Esther, an outstanding leader and a successful entrepreneur, which is a very, very common knowledge. I would like to dwell on the lighter side of Tita Esther. She was very fashionable, very chic, always. She has a very unique way of fashioning her scarf. So one time, when we were all seated in the presidential table, she inverted her collar and showed us how she attached her scarf to her collar with big safety pins, malalaking perdible, and it drew us a big laughter. Sabi ko, hindi bali, Tita Esther, peragamo naman yata yung scarf mo. Sabi niya, with pride. Hindi peragamo yan. SM lang yan. A billionaire, she can always carry it with a palm. Another time, I was complaining about getting up early for the madaling araw na appointment for my hair and makeup. You know, as Inner Wheel members, when we had the induction, our national conference, we wanted to be at our best. Tapos sabi ni Tita Esther sa akin, learn how to attach your false eyelashes. Madali lang yan. Sabi ko, naku, Tita Esther, I'm not good at it. But with insistence, she said, bumili ka ng pandikit, ang mura-mura lang yan. Sabi niyang ganon. Wala pang 100 pesos. Because of her insistence, I tried. And you know, tama siya. Madali nga lamang. So, I don't bother anymore waking up very early and I do my own makeup. Isang legacy na iniwanan sa akin ni Tita Esther. Salamat po. It is very rude to ask one's age, pero one time, chika-chika ang mga PNPs. Nagsasabihan kami kung ilang taon na. Pero nung dumating na kay Tita Esther, she just ignored it. Walang naginig. But Noni Basilio said, top secret yan, wag nyo na itanong. Pero ito lang masasabi ko, mas matanda siya sa akin. When she was awarded a Lifetime Award by Go Negosyo, on the front page in Daily Inquirer, nakalagay ang heading, litrato niya, heading, Esther Vibal, tapos yung age niya. Nabisto din namin. She had lived a full, rewarding life. As Father Orbo said, mission accomplished. Farewell, Tita Esther. You will be forever an inspiration and will be always in our hearts. The best gift we can give her now, prayers. Maraming salamat po.
We now continue with our honoring. May I call on the past national president who served from 2008-2009, past national president Victorina Magadia.
I am saddened by the news of the death of our dear past international Inner Wheel president Esther Vibal. I call her Tita Esther since my induction as a charter president of the Inner Wheel Club of Makati North some 21 years ago. First time I met her, she asked me if I am related to past national president Flor Castelo, as she noticed that my middle name is a Castelo. And I told her that the husband of past national president Flor is my first cousin, my Kuya Edie. Then she said, you must be related to Miss Mariquita Castelo, the big boss of the Girl Scout of the Philippines and the founder of the Soroptimist Club of the Philippines. So I answered her, yes, Miss Mariquita Castelo is my auntie, and I lived and grew up with her. And she smiled and told me, I work with your auntie, Vicky.
Oh, yes.
You must be the little girl who was always with her in the GSP headquarters, asking you to attend all the leadership trainings all over the Philippines.
I guess I just want to jump back.
I have literally seen you grow up and turn into the woman that you are now. Then she said, I remember your auntie, so proud of you and broadcasting to everyone in the Girl Scout of the Philippines headquarters when you were chosen as one of the 7 young Girl Scout leaders to handle the Girl Scout World Jamboree in Novaliches GSP Training Center with more than 5,000 delegates. And so I said, yes, I am that little girl. I was only 15 years old. Since then, Tita Esther and I became friends. And she was always there giving me moral support and inspired me and guided me and told me to move on the ladder of leadership in the IWCPI. When I was finally inducted as National President, I saw and felt how happy and proud she was for me. She attended all the important national events during my term as National President and made me feel how important I am to her, like a real auntie to me. Thank you for all the love and care, Tita Esther. I love you too very much. Rest in peace with God in heaven. I will miss you, but I will always pray for you.
We are now at the midpoint of our program, and we'd like to thank our earlier batch of speakers who paid tribute to our dear Tita Esther. This time, let us listen to the angelic voice of the District International Service Organizer of District 378, Emlyn Santos, as she pays tribute to dear Tita Esther with her song, Hindi Kita Malilimutan.
Hindi kita malimot, alaala kita. Hindi kita malimot, minamahal kita. Isinusumpan ko sa iyong kagandahan na ikaw lamang ang tangi kong minamahal. Hindi kita malimot, huwag kang manindiman. Hindi kita malimot, manalig kasi ka
We now go to the second part of our program in Celebrating Life, honoring past International President Esther Vibal. Our next batch of speaker starts with the President of the IWCPFI Council of Past Presidents, Neneng Nicolas, who also served as past IWCPI President in 1990 to 1991.
In inner wheel year 1988-89, I became the district chairman of District 377 under President Sophie Velez. The other district chairmen were Mary Jane Ortega of 379, Nelly Zamora of 380, and Vel Religioso of 382. We called ourselves Sophie's Angels, and we became national presidents one after the other. We were all introduced to the bigwigs of IWCPI, and foremost among them was former international inner wheel president Esther Vibal. It was during this year when I was district chairman that I lost my husband Dick, who was the vice governor of the province of Bulacan. I was appointed as a member of the provincial board, and Tita Esther, as I would call her, would tell me that, Neneng, you are now a public servant. You have to serve your constituents following our motto, selflessness in friendship and service to humanity. Inner Wheel was the first NGO that I joined, and I learned the ABCs of leadership from the Inner Wheel with Tita Esther as one of my mentors. She was friendly and approachable, so that you would not think she was managing a big corporation like Vibal Publishing House. We became closer because we had the same costurera from Tarlac at Chingson, and among the suki of this dressmaker, aside from Tita Esther, were my titas Lily Nicolas, Noni Basilio, and Raquel Santa Ines. We would always have new gowns for our induction and special occasions. However, during one of IWCPI convention, Tita Esther arrived and she was wearing an old gown, an old bag, and we all gang up on her. We said, Tita Esther, you are so rich, why not have a new get-up? And she said she decided to live a simpler life. We all said, let's go shopping, splurge, and enjoy having the best, like a new bag, a new gown. You deserve it. She just smiled. She never went out shopping with us. She loves to sing, and one time, she invited us to the rooftop of Vibal Publishing House, where she and her group performed. But later on, she started missing out on our inner wheel activities when she fell sick. We wanted to visit her, but she refused. Perhaps she wanted us to remember her as she was with twinkling eyes and passion to serve. She just wanted to fade into the sunset. But Tita Esther, we will not allow you to fade into the realm of forgetfulness. We at the IWCPI will remember you, not only as the only Filipina International Inner Wheel President, nor our past national president, but we will remember you. I will remember you as a leader, a mentor, a friend. Tita Esther, rest in peace.
Our next speaker is the president of the Inner Wheel Clubs of the Philippines Incorporated, Council of Past National Presidents, Raquel Santa Ines, who also served as IWCPI National President in 2005 to 2006.
What can you say about the only Filipina to occupy the highest position in our organization worldwide. An icon in the world of Innerville, with exemplary ideals of leadership, which served as the very reason why we, the members of the Council of Past National Presidents, have looked up to her with utmost respect and admiration, giving us genuine inspiration to be very good leaders as well. With a ready smile for everyone, she had shown us deeper meaning to life in Innerville for all of us. She has exemplified the mission and objective of what being in Innerville is all about. Sheer dedication and love for the organization and its virtues. We will all miss you. We love you, Tita Esther.
Our next speaker is the President of the Innerville Clubs of the Philippines Foundation for 2020, President Ludi Carpio.
To the family of past International President Esther Vibal, officers and members of the Innerville Clubs of the Philippines, officers and members of the Innerville Clubs of the Philippines Foundation, Inc., good afternoon. In behalf of the officers and members of IWCPFI, I would like to extend our deepest sympathy to the family of past International President Esther Vibal. Our dear Esther is the only past national president who served our international community. A very dynamic person who was one of the first who donated to our foundation when we launched our diamond pins. A very generous person at that. We thank you for all your services to Innerville and to our organization. And may her soul rest in peace. God bless to all her family members, and thank you very much, Tita Esther, for everything. We love you. I am Ludi Carpio, President of the Foundation of the Innerville Clubs of the Philippines Foundation.
Our next speaker is International Innerville Board Director for 2019 and 2020, Zenaida Farcon.
After my term as National President in 2007-2008, I automatically became a member of the Council of IWCPI Past Presidents. This was a time I rubbed elbows with the first Filipina and Asian International Innerville President, Tita Esther Vibal. By the way, she was President of International Innerville in 1983 to 1984, and the theme was Continuing Search for Peace. I found Tita Esther approachable, simple, jolly, and always appreciate one's talent. She is always high-spirited and likes to say jokes. Despite her stature, she will never throw her weight around. In fact, if she wants to say something, she will just whisper it to her seatmate. On August 19, 2012, I was surprised to get a call from Tita Esther. It was a Sunday. She read an article in Manila Bulletin where Jude and I were featured. She congratulated me and told me that she liked the stories about how June and I met and how we raised our children. She read in that article that I was a practicing certified public accountant. She then asked me to meet her at her office because she needed my help in reviewing the accounting system of her company, the Vibal group of companies. I readily said yes because as Innerweal friends, I wanted to be of help to her in whatever way I can. She personally showed me around, introducing me to each department heads. She proudly showed how they were doing digitization of the textbooks. Back then, they were already prepared for e-books. She would proudly say that I am her accounting consultant. Whenever I am in her office, she would always go down from her room in her house to sit down and discuss with me. She would show the company's financial statements to me and ask my opinion on how the company performed. She took note and valued my advice, and I felt very proud that I am rendering service to an institution in textbook publishing. In one of my visits to Vibal building, I was able to meet her brilliant and good-looking children, Gus and Nila. Again, Tita Esther would probably say that I am her fellow past national president and her accounting consultant. Tita Esther was a very good client. Whenever she sees me in Innerweal events, she would always ask, "Uy, magkano na utang ko? Singilin mo na ako." Just like my fellow PNPs in the council, I felt very sad when suddenly Tita Esther was no longer attending the council meetings and fellowship. Tita Esther, thank you for touching our lives. We will miss you. Please watch over us and watch over Innerweal, the organization that we all love. Please hug Jesus for us.
Esther Vibal was a member of the Innerweal Club of Quezon City. And now to hear from the district chairman of District 378, Cynthia Reyes.
Few women rose to such prominence and accomplished so much in women empowerment than past International Innerweal President Esther Vibal. Many of us, the current members and officers of the Innerweal Clubs of the Philippines, like me, met and worked with Esther Vibal only fleetingly, but I am sure we know that she is a hero amongst us in Innerweal, and more so as a leader to emulate. We celebrate that page in the history of Innerweal in the Philippines, where Esther Vibal is prime and center. She brought the Philippines in the world stage of international Innerweal when she became representative, board member, editor, until she became International Innerweal President. In all her travels to foreign clubs, conventions, and board meetings, she exemplified the vision and courage of strong leadership and pushed the boundaries of what we can do together through linkages. She was truly a leader ahead of her time. With passion and perseverance, espoused the idea of collective action to bring positive change. She championed the program of consolidation and expansion to bring forth growth in our organization. She was a trailblazer. And so today, we honor and celebrate her life. I could say she is actually the leader we have in mind when we asked for a leader who could lead the change. To past International Inner President Esther Vibal, we are privileged to have you as a leader. You have touched so many lives, especially those whom you have served and helped in making a positive difference. You had a remarkable and enviable life journey. Now, in your next journey, may the Almighty God embrace and welcome you with His loving smile. Bon voyage.
Our next speaker is also a past national president who served in the year 1998 to 1999, now National Representative Fe Victoria de Guia.
My close encounter with past IIW President Esther was when I became president of IWCPI in 1997-1998. She was so gracious to allow the board to have its leadership training seminar, board meetings, and other activities in the multipurpose hall of our house. That started a beautiful friendship. We became closer when she was elected as president of the IWCPI Council of Past Presidents. In 2002-2003, I was her secretary. And she said, "Oh, ikaw na bahala dyan at just tell me what I need to do." So funny. Ako pa yung magsasabi sa kanya kung anong gagawin. From then on, many more accommodations were allowed. One of them is letting my other organization, the Catholic Women's League, for our recollections, retreats, and other activities. Our diocesan board director stayed in her building and house in Cebu for 3 days with free accommodation, breakfast, and dinner served. Even to the extent of picking us up from the airport and letting us use the Vibal publishing van to bring us around the city and to and from our convention site. Later on, during fellowship of the council, she took note of my husband Ed's singing and encouraged him to join her singing group, the Monday Music Club. A singing group of aficionados from all walks of life that meets every first Monday of the month to jam and to sing classical music, opera, and all-time favorites. My family have many things to be thankful for to Tita Esther, like allowing my husband and the children to have their song recital again in her Vibal multipurpose hall, including my one-man exhibit of mascara art craft. Hindi ko malilimutan, palagi niyang sinasabi sa akin, "Ikaw ha, alagaan mo yung asawa mo because he is a very good man. Sinasabi ko sa iyo ha, tandaan mo yan. At ikaw, kumanta ka na rin." She's like a nana, but unfortunately, hindi mahilig ang kanta sa akin. I really missed that Monday monthly meeting, seeing Tita Esther singing to her heart's delight. Umaarte siya habang kumakanta. Like a pro, masayang masaya. Tita Esther really has a generous heart. And some of the things she did for us, well, she sponsored the souvenir bags for the kids for the 100 years of Rotary International for District 780. And during that time, Ed was the DISCON chairman. For Actually, she also sponsored the 50th Golden Anniversary Coffee Table Book of our church, of the Most Holy Redeemer, Paris. And many, many more. I cannot count anymore. So what else can you expect from a friend? Tita Esther will be missed so much. Subalit, hindi ka namin malilimutan. You will always stay in our hearts forever. So farewell, sing your heart's delight in heaven with Ed. We love you.
Today's celebration in the life of past International Inner Wheel President Esther Vibal will not be complete without a word coming from the 2020 IWCPI President. Please welcome President Pamela de Guzman.
A pleasant day to everyone. A rather sad and gloomy day for Inner Wheel as we are gathered today to give our final respect to our departed and beloved past International Inner Wheel President Esther Vibal, the first Filipina who held that position. In behalf of the Inner Wheel Clubs of the Philippines Incorporated, we would like to express our sincerest condolences to the family of Tita Esther who have joined our Creator. Tita Esther, as I vividly remember, is a very soft-spoken woman, a vain person, very generous, with a sense of humor and full of ideas. She is an epitome of a woman that is perfect of elegance and good taste. Why did I say she is vain? She told me, Pam, always put your best. Try to be beautiful, always. Lagi kang postura at dapat maganda. So I said, banedosa pala si Tita Esther. During my term as district chairman in 1998-1999, Tita Esther allowed us to stay at her Vibal staff house in Cebu City. This is during the visit of past International Inner Wheel President Louis Richardson. We did not spend any single cent. When my term as an Inner Wheel Clubs of the Philippines Foundation President, then the District Foundation representative, now past District Chairman Nona Ricaport, who is one of her close friends, accompanied me and we visited Tita Esther. We had a very interesting conversation and we were able to convince Tita Esther to support the foundation by giving us a check without any hesitation. But she gave me instruction not to put her name on it. Another thing that comes in my mind, and I will not forget, was during our past national conference, as I was the program and coordinator chairman. Tita Esther was often assigned to lead in the recitation of Inner Wheel pledges, and she will call me, Pam, make me a copy of the pledge in bold letters so I can see and easily read it. When we lose a loved one, our world just falls apart. We think that we can't carry on. With this broken heart, everything is different now. The only thing we're certain of is we will meet them once again. But I hope not so soon. Tita Esther is an inspiration to everyone. Tita Esther, as you are now in heaven with the other Inner Wheel members who have gone ahead of you, you can charter a new Inner Wheel club there. But please, don't recruit us yet, as we have many more things to accomplish here on earth, especially in Inner Wheel. Tita Esther, we love you and we will miss you.
Very much to all our speakers for taking time out to share with us your thoughts and fond memories with our dear Esther Vibal. To formally bring our short program to a close, may I call on past National President Donna Yao for her closing remarks.
Our tribute has come to an end. Our days with our dear Tita Esther may have ended when she returned to her Creator. But her life story will not end. It will be relived by the many who became part of her story. It will be shared by those whose lives were made better by her compassion and generosity. It will be magnified in the eyes of those who have seen the sincerity and warmth of her friendship. This simple tribute is not enough to exalt the life and selfless service of Esther Vibal not only to the Inner Wheel clubs of the Philippines but also to the other organizations she has led. We, her friends, should make sure that her story is not forgotten. We should make sure that her vision will not end. If Tita Esther was with us today, I am sure this is how she would like to be remembered. Thank you.
Esther Vibal is an enduring model of tenacity, perseverance, and innovation in the educational print and publishing industry. She was an exemplary leader, a woman whose brilliance we have all been lucky to be witnesses of. A pleasant good afternoon to everyone. This has been your host. My name is Emily Duterte.